Disaster, big oil spill in the ocean. Could these wave gliders help and clean in the assistance?
Absolutely. So recently we've assisted in cleanup efforts, more specifically more measurement efforts, in that it's a data harvesting tool. We have the ability to measure essentially what's in the water, and the wave glider is actually quite effective at that.
Well, speaking of getting into the water, I can't wait to get in the water and see these things in action.
Absolutely.
So we're here at the version of NASA's Mission Control Liquid Robotics right here in the state of Hawaii. Can you tell us what the data is right here on the computer screen and what's it representing?
So right now we're looking at our user interface. We're looking at a handful of vehicles right now that are out in our op area right out here west of Kauai High. From this, essentially from this screen, we have the ability to monitor the vehicle's speed over ground, path over ground, its desired heading, water speed, current speed, which it calculates, current speed and heading, which it calculates, as well as its lat and long, battery power, basically all the sort of telemetry, baseline telemetry of the vehicles. We also have the ability to essentially reprogram their courses and communicate to the vehicle through this interface. It's a web interface, so we can communicate with the vehicle anywhere you have an internet connection.
The production crew and I are briefed on safety instructions. Free diving in the Pacific is serious business. All right, boss, we're on location on the boat. How long is it going to take us to get out to the first wave glider?
About 10 to 15 minutes.
All right, well, we're on the adventure. I can't wait to get in the water. Departing from Kauai Harbor, we're in search of the wave glider, approximately 8 miles off the coast of the Big Island, and we're going to be using GPS coordinates to track it down. Now the adventure begins, and the ocean conditions are perfect, and the captain tells us we will be arriving at our destination momentarily. Now I'm excited to see this new technology known as the wave glider swimming in the Pacific Ocean. I think I see it, boss. Is that it?
Yeah, it's right there off the starboard side.
All right, we're getting in close and we're gonna see what the wave glider looks like in action. This is about as good as what perpetual motion gets, right out here, taking energy from the water and the swells.
Absolutely, as long as we have surface motion of the waves, we have thrust, which allows us to move forward through the water.
Now, how deep is the ocean here? Because I'm quite, afraid of sharks. Are there big ones you see out here?
Sometimes we do see large creatures. We're in about 170 fathoms of water right now.
All right, well, let's get our dive gear on and hit the water.
Absolutely.
Now this is when Vospadorian gets to work, suiting up and taking a look at the wave glider down below. The production crew's ready, cameras are in the water, and we're about to get into it right now. As we approach the wave glider to get a closer look, I think to myself, this is the first world's wave-powered autonomous marine robot designed to help address the big challenges the world faces, including global climate change, national security, hurricane and tsunami warnings. As we approach the wave glider and seeing it in action, it almost seems as if it's alive. Because of the energy independence, wave gliders are able to persistently gather and communicate ocean data on a far broader scale and with greater timelines than ever before, at a fraction of the cost of traditional solutions. They open up new abilities to map and explore for resources, to protect and secure marine assets, or to conduct groundbreaking scientific research. From the Arctic to the equator, wave gliders are expanding our ability to understand the world's oceans, upon which we depend for food, trade, economics, and the health of our environment. As we come back to the harbor, I think of the wave glider we just left behind and its continuing exploration and explanation of enormous mass amounts of information that comes into them every day. The dawn of recorded history and the digital age will change history forever, and liquid robotics and the wave gliders around the world will continuously update the human race. All right, boss, we just got back off the boat. Welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. My name's Blake Cousins, and we're gonna go over the videos for November 2013 submitted right here at Third Phase. Now, let's get to our first video. The JSB 007 UFO Hunter captures of what looks straight out of the movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Now let's get to it.
Look at this. So it's gone from hovering, the dogs are barking. Look at this. It's got a slight drone to it. It's coming straight over the top of my house. Look at that. Bloody hell. Beautiful. It's like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Look at that. My God. That is so beautiful. Oh, I'm going to run out the room in a minute. Falling out the window. I've lost him. How about that? God. Bloody hell, that's fantastic. Oh.
Now for our next video, captured November 2nd from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Kurt Young captures two lights dancing in the night skies from his hotel balcony. Now let's get to it.
Yo, what is this? You see that? What is that? Edmonton, Alberta. Where did that other one go? Follow this one.
Now for our next video, shot on November 13th, right out of Chicago, Lake Michigan. Cam Smith captures a massive geometric pattern over the night skies. Now let's get to the video right now.
Very. Incredible. What could be doing that?
Are we going? Are we going? Are we going?
for our next video shot by Tug Wilson of what people are claiming to be a serpent-like creature in the clouds over Akron, Ohio. You take a look at the video and decide for yourself. We at Third Phase of Moon want to thank everybody who submitted their incredible video for the month of November 2013. And it's not over yet. And if you capture something incredible, you send it to Third Phase via Skype or Facebook. My name's Blake Cousins. Keep your eyes on the skies, and we'll see you again. Welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. My name's Blake Cousins. We're going to be speaking with a Navy veteran that served on the USS Dubuque in regards to an incredible sighting he witnessed in the Pacific. Hey James, thanks for joining us right here at Third Phase Moon. I would like to get into detail of what happened aboard the Navy vessel right here off the Pacific.
So it was early autumn of '86, and my ship was the USS Dubuque. It was home ported in Sasebo, Japan, and we were out of Sasebo bound towards the South China Sea.
Could you go more in depth on the description of what you experienced that night?
Well, what we used to do is, after watches, eve watches, that ended about 10, 11 at night, we'd go above decks outside the ship, which we weren't even really supposed to, and we'd do exercise. We'd do a workout. And often we'd stargaze, because a ship at sea, a Navy ship at sea at the time, runs completely darkened, and you can have a great view of the sky. And what happened one night is I looked up and I saw what appeared to be a star at first, a bright star, but then it started moving in these incredible, flying across the horizon from one end to the other and doing these figure-8 patterns and circles, and it was just, never seen anything like it.
Okay, so while you witnessed this, what was your reaction to what you witnessed? What was your prior thought of UFOs, and what did you do immediately after this sighting?
I had absolutely no belief in them whatsoever. I was baffled by what I was looking at. At first I thought perhaps it was a firefly above my head, but then I realized we were 2, 3, 4 days at sea in the middle of the ocean, and what I was looking at was very high up in altitude. And when I saw the motions it was making, I realized it had to be traveling at tens of thousands of miles an hour. It was faster than anything I'd ever seen, faster than even a meteorite.
Tell us about these angles that this unidentified object was, how it maneuvered.
It was, first it kind of rocketed back and forth, and then it started doing almost like an infinity pattern, if you will. Then there was some circles involved, and it moved crazily across the sky.
What was the response from your fellow shipmates to this experience you just had, and did they witness it themselves?
What I did is I went up to what was known as the 04 level, and that's where the lookouts were. on the signal bridge. And I asked the guy on watch if he could see what I was seeing. I thought maybe I was seeing things, and he saw it too. But to my surprise, he wasn't really interested in it so much. He said, oh, maybe it's a shooting star or something, and that didn't make any sense to me because it was just going back and forth. But he was totally disinterested in it. I was very surprised. Well, later in the week, I came across a message while working in the document destruction room of all places, and I saw that it was a report that had been forwarded from the Japanese self-defense force, air self-defense force, and they had been chasing a UFO off the coast of Japan, and they had some radar locks on it, and the report had specific information that they had targeted it with their radar. They hadn't apparently gotten very close to it, but they had radar confirmation of what they were chasing.
As far as the UFO phenomenon, what is your opinion on what the military knows?
In my opinion, the military knows quite a bit about what's going on. I don't think my sighting was the only one. I think our involvement, or the military's involvement, it goes beyond what most people can even imagine. It kind of scares me, to be honest with you.
We want to thank veteran James for sharing his incredible insight in regards to the matter that happened on the USS Dubuque. And if you captured anything amazing, you could contact Third Phase via Skype or Facebook. My name's Blake. Welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. My name's Blake Cousins, and we're going to go over incredible video submitted for the first week of January 2013. For our first video, Manuel Sanchez, UFO hunter from Mexico, captures a metallic cube flying in the air. Now let's get to it right now.
Unidentified flying object. Unidentified flying object. Unidentified flying object.
For our next video, submitted by Dwayne Lovell, while driving in a passenger seat off the slopes of the Mauna Kea on the Big Island, he captures something quite incredible, a flying disc over a cinder cone. Unidentified flying object. Now for our next video, Gary Ablett captures something off the western coast of Australia with his GoPro Hero 3. What was amazing is that he didn't know what he filmed until he got home. Now let's take a look at this quick UFO darting in the sky.
Third phase.
We want to thank Dwayne Lovell, Manuel Sanchez, and Gary Ablett for submitting their incredible videos right here at Third Phase of Moon. And if you're lucky enough to capture something incredible like these guys, submit it to us via Skype or Facebook, Third Phase of Moon. Keep your eyes on the skies, everybody. My name's Blake Cousins, and we'll see you again next time. Welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. My name's Blake Cousins. We're gonna go over some incredible video just into Third Phase of Moon for the month of September 2013. Nottingham, the UK, John Shirley described to me of what he thought to be a star in the night sky, but it started to move and do incredible maneuvers in the night sky. He grabbed his camera and captured this.
Unidentified flying object.
Now we zoom things up. We want to get a closer look at this object in the night sky.
Unidentified flying object. Unidentified flying object.
Now for our next set of videos in broad daylight, captured by UFO hunter Manuel Sanchez from Tijuana, Mexico. The first video, what looks to be a massive size object over the skies of Tijuana, Mexico. Now let's get to it. Let's put some heavy brightness and contrast on this so we can see this object in the clouds. Now for the second video Manuel Sanchez submitted to Third Phase of Moon of what looks to be maybe a random trash bag flying in the wind. But after closer analyzation of this incredible video, it looks to be some kind of intelligent design behind its flight patterns. You decide and take a look at this video right now.
fíjate. Porque no tengo el tripié aquí. Estoy calando esta cámara. Qué extraño, sobre las casas.
Now, for our next video, famous abductee Stan Romanek continuously amazes us right here at Third Phase of Moon in regards to his continuing story of alien abduction UFO sightings. Now let's get to the next video he shot over Colorado right before the major floods.
It is, I don't know what day it is, but that's a UFO. I see you up there. Hi. You're beautiful. And thank you for coming. I'm getting you on video if you don't mind. Oh, jeez. My heart's racing. Okay. Whatever you are, you're beautiful. Stop, 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 stop. Oh, come on. I've got you. It's September 6th. No, 5th. No, 6th. September 6th, 2013. There's a UFO hanging out right there. It's a real UFO! UFO, UFO! Beautiful UFO!
Oh my god.
Do you see it?
How's that? Oh my god. Where's my phone? Let me go get
Damn it. That stupid light's in the way.
No way! Oh my
I got it on film! Yes!
recorded it this time?
Yes!
We had 2 of them the other night.
That was cool. Did you see it going back and forth?
Red all the way down? Where did it go? It just went down that way. I looked over, I was like, Sammy, what is that?
We want to thank everybody who submits their incredible videos to us right here at Third Phase of Moon. John Shirley from the UK, Manuel Sanchez from Mexico, and Mr. Stan Romanek from Colorado. And if you've captured anything amazing in regards to UFOs like these gentlemen, contact Third Phase of the Moon via Skype or Facebook. My name's Blake Cousins, and we'll see you again next time. Part 4 series, the best UFOs of 2013. Now let's get started with this video submitted by a U.S. Marine on location in Area 51.
It's atop of a small hill, providing an excellent vantage point of the entire surrounding area.
Andrew, could you tell us, when you first noticed this Ford coming at you, did you feel intimidated in any way? Did you think that they were going to come up there and arrest you?
I had no idea what their intentions were at first. Usually we've been into that area before and we've seen them come close, but never that close and never in broad daylight. So my immediate impression was that of, oh crap, I think they're coming up. So yeah, I was definitely intimidated.
So they're coming right in. Well, that's as close as I've ever seen them. Faces have been obscured in the following photos to protect identity. Look close and you'll realize that they use spotting scopes for observation.
The CIA finally this year admitted Area 51 really exists. Thumbs up for Third Phase of the Moon if we could get on location in 2014 and see what's inside. Now to our next video. Now, Brent, Manuel Sanchez has been submitting UFO videos from Mexico to Third Phase of the Moon for about a year and a half now. Could this be organic or mechanic? That's the question right there. Manuel Sanchez delivers out of Mexico again. Take a look at the video, you decide. Now, Brett, this video was pretty controversial for the year 2013 of what appears to be a flying saucer entering the Pacific Ocean. Great footage right here, Blake. We're pretty captivated when this came in. Is it a hoax or the real deal? You decide. Now for our next video, just submitted today, December 27, 2013, from Costa Mesa, California. Jim Martin captures this orb in the skies at incredible speed.
Camera is on a tripod, falling in the sky. Sweet.
Not only check out this orb, look at these flying fish, a sky rod shooting across the sky. Look at this, we got a great still right here, check it out. Tom captured this video right around the time of the massive Russian meteor over Serbia.
I'm telling you, they look like balls of fire with like something coming off of them as they're like going down.
Take a look at this. We got two of these meteors coming in. They're fireballs flaming, big trails going on. Could this be a sign of new activity to come? Well, this might be in 2014, very scary times. We're going to keep our eyes on the skies as far as meteorites or comets. But take a look at this. The perspective in this shot, I really like it.
Did you take that picture?
Look, the birds.
The birds. Ooh, get it with the birds. As a reference.
Yeah. 2014 is going to be amazing. But 2013 isn't done yet. That's right, and if you capture anything from now till New Year's, you can submit it to Third Phase of Moon via Skype or Facebook. Thanks again, Brent. Hey, my pleasure. Keep on watching. Welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. My name's Blake Cousins, and we're going to go over the videos that we received for the year 2013. Let's get started with the first one, Brent.
All right, Blake, it's been an incredible year. Over 300 videos submitted for the year 2013. Awesome stuff.
You know, Brian McPhee from the UK, Scotland,
Yes.
captured this incredible, morphine object in the sky. Let's take a look at it.
Let's pull it up. This is some really good stuff by McPhee. Look at how it glitters, and it's actually morphine in the clouds. He captured it with his family. Pretty amazing video, Blake. What would you have to say?
I'd have to say this is, again, an unidentified flying object. It's morphine. It's a spectacular color. Let's kick back and take a look at this video for a second.
Good.
Now we're going to get to our next video submitted by an abductee, and he submitted 2 videos for the year 2013. Mr. Stan Romanek.
Oh yes, Mr. Stan.
This picture of the alien, Stan explains to us that the alien took a picture of himself messing around with Stan's camera.
It's a selfie. The new selfies, people are taking selfies all the time. This is actually one amazing footage.
Could this be the first selfie of an alien ever? Let's everybody take a look at this picture, and we'll get on to Stan Romanek's next video. It was caught during a surveillance. He had surveillance equipment on his house, and he managed to capture this incredible light that zoomed over his home. What do you make of it, Brent?
People say in the comments that it's some sort of string with some sort of light, and it's kind of gliding along the path that it was set. Possible hoax. I don't think so. This is we're zooming in, we're not seeing no string attached to it. The vibrancy of this light is quite amazing. It actually illuminates the front yard there. All right, Blake, tell us what we got next here.
Well, our next video was submitted by a person named Bob Evans. He's been studying the SOHO imagery from NASA, and what he's captured and shared with us was quite astonishing. Could this be the Anunnaki massive mother wing ship right there in this photograph and the amazing photos he submitted?
It's possible. We're taking a look at it. These things would be basically the size of the planet Earth. To think about that's quite astounding, and something that big being in our solar system.
All right, our next video, we have to give condolences to the Marcel family. We were privileged enough to speak with him, and he came on our radio show, and it was his last interview. Jesse Marcel Jr., famous son to the man that handled the crash evidence from Roswell, New Mexico.
Very sad day. He died within a week after our first interview we did with him. He did share a lot of these incredible insight stories of him on the scene the day his father brought this alien material.
He actually handled the material, and he still can't to this day know what it was. Was it an alien material? He believes it was. Let's just listen to some of the Marcel interview right now.
Bill Brazel, who was the rancher's son, kept a little piece of it in his saddlebags there on the ranch there, and word got out that he had a piece of it, and some very official people came and got it for him.
Now for our next video, shot July 4, 2013 by Mahmoud and family. It's incredible videos. This is a TR-3B reverse engineered alien technology.
Hard telling, Blake, but what's best about it, his son actually got a second angle, and we got it right here. Let's take a look at it.
Holy crap! There goes more. There's more. There's more UFOs. Like, I don't know what the hell. There's like a bunch of blinking lights. I don't know if this is damn invading something. What the hell?
Our radio show receives millions of hits throughout the year, but the biggest one was the Area 51 J-Rod story, Escape from Area 51. Brent?
J-Rod, an incredible story. Apparently, he escaped from Area 51 through a Stargate.
Brent, also this incredible interview from Dr. Stephen Greer in regards to his movie Sirius, and he spoke to us about the 6-inch alien.
Incredible footage. Apparently, this is 90% human, the other 10%, we don't know what it is. It's great stuff.
When I saw this first video, Brent, I was kind of shocked in the beginning. Could this have been an alien skull found underneath a person's home? People thought this was an alien discovery. It turned out to be the skull of a cat. Joe Rodriguez, a detective out of LA, captures something amazing on a stakeout. Rodriguez, we've been standing online right now. Okay, so Brent was talking to Joe a little earlier, and I'm just getting the phone call. Joe, what's going on over there in Los Angeles? You got something? Well, go ahead.
Yes, this morning at about, I'm not sure what time it was, early in the morning, I was waiting for my subject to leave her home.
Wait a second.
Cheating wife.
Okay, let me ask you, what do you mean your subject? What were you doing prior to this UFO sighting that we're about to see?
I'm a private investigator, been a private eye for a while, for about 20 years.
Brent, this I'd have to say is one of the best, if not greatest videos of all time, or it could be the biggest hoax. Submitted by Lance Robertson from Colorado, Thanksgiving night. It was late, we posted it. It was a sensation on the net. Incredible stuff. What do you think it's real, Blake? You know, I'm just gonna be on the fence on this one. It's incredible. Everybody take a look at it. Which ones do we have first on the list right here? Let's take a look, Blake. All right, Blake, I'm pulling up a story that we did a couple months ago about the ghost and the white lady in a small town of Pueblo. Tell us about it. Well, what's amazing is that the whole town has paranormal activity written all over it. They've seen the white lady for themselves. But what shocked me is when we interviewed this man in front of his home, he explained on how they found the white lady's body when she killed herself, bloated. But 2 days later, Brent.
So people were trying to find them. Some guys walk from the top of the box, come down the couch. When they found them, she was sinking up already. She was all bloated already.
Yeah, a couple days later, we're watching the news, Hawaii news, and it was breaking news about this house that burnt down in Pueblo. We've kind of looked at each other, and we're wondering, could this be the house and the interview of this guy that we just did? And it turned out his house went down in flames. He survived. He wasn't injured. But we got the actual footage. Let's pull up that file right now. Unfortunately, 2 days after the interview that you just saw right here at Third Phase of Moon about the Pueblo ghost lady, the house behind me has burnt down, and it is very unfortunate. Just 2 days after our interview, his house burns to the ground. Is this the curse of the white lady? Well, if you want us to do a nighttime investigation, paranormal activity hunt, thumbs up and we'll do it in 2014. Now let's get to our next video that we're going to bring up. Dr. Stephen Greer, the movie series came out, but he told us about this false flag invasion. Well, he's actually saying the military's genetically engineering humans to look like aliens, to abduct them, basically a false flag, and pretend that these aliens are actually from another universe.
That these creatures that have been made in a number of laboratories over the years and become better and better really do look like a non-human humanoid, but they're man-made. And these have been used in conjunction with these man-made anti-gravity devices to simulate things like abductions and mutilations and what have you.
The Alien Human Project, young Jack Graham, only 14, got to speak with the world-famous Dr. Roger Lear in regards to alien implants.
Now, where in the body do most implants usually come from?
Well, that's an interesting question of where we find them in the body. What we've come to the conclusion is that they have to be in areas that are relatively superficial and near a bone.
What's amazing is there's actual nanotechnology that were found in these implants. And the technology's been around for only 4 or 5 years, and these implants are about 15 to 20 in their age. Wow, let's get to the next one. The exo-politician himself, Stephen Bassett, did the congressional hearing in Washington, D.C., and he allowed us pretty much full coverage of the whole aspect. Quite amazing. Yeah, he gave us full access and actually let us put clips of the actual meeting going on there. Let's take a look at one of them right now.
Which is the growth plates. You know when you have, the growth plates in a kid and they hurt their leg? The growth plates and the bone density is that of a 6 to 8 year old. All right, now call me crazy, but I'm just a doctor. But I can tell you, I've taken care of a lot of children that are 6 and 8 year olds. I've never seen one 6 inches tall. This is 6 inches, 13 centimeters. What 6 to 8 year old can live to be only 6 inches tall?
This was a historic interview we had at Third Phase of Moon. Edgar Mitchell, astronaut, he said incredible stuff in this interview.
He gave us a little insight. He actually believes there's actual moon bases on the far side of the moon. Incredible stuff.
Let's listen to an excerpt right now.
Because the knowledge is out, well-educated people are accepting the fact as the evidence, I don't want to say the fact, the evidence that said we've been visited. And I think some of the strongest evidence is that our missile silos that carried intercontinental missiles over the years between the 40s and the 60s were routinely visited by alien spacecraft, and the missiles disarmed. And most people know that.
2013, I'd say, would be the year of the UFO summoners. Mr. Robert Bingham started it all. He created a following and actually taught people how to summon UFOs. Let's take a look at one of the events at Hollandale Park.
That was amazing because that was the pinnacle of equipment, yet everybody had cameras in the sky.
They certainly did, and just continuously comes in. We just received about, I would say, about 100 emails this morning with attachments via video, via photographs, and like you're saying, this fleet of UFOs that early in the day over there at Hollandale, we did receive these photos, and we'll be posting right here at Third Phase of Moon, and they were described to us by Jonathan Castro.
The fleet came in, I spotted them first, and that's when I called Robert and hey, check out the fleet, and that's when they started coming. They were pretty high, but then they just kept their speed, they maintained it, and instead of a V shape, they were it was like a V and then a Y shape.
Jonathan Castro, Jim Martin, Fausto Perez are UFO summoners. They claim they've learned it from Mr. Robert Bingham. Brent, now we do receive videos from around the world, and some people want to remain anonymous, and this is one of them that I want to show you. This weird contraption thingamajig. What is it?
Up here. They come in all shapes and sizes. It could be a drone, hard telling, maybe some anti-gravity going on. You decide.
To me, it seems like a military, test vehicle, but I could be mistaken.
Tell me about Mohed Adid, Blake.
What I like about this video, and we've received a few this year, we're going to go over them right now, are the videos from within airplanes, which are capturing anomalies outside the window. Take this one, for instance, Mohed Hadi from Qatar. People say that this is a balloon. Being such a high altitude,
Since ancient times, we've looked into the night skies and wondered, how far do the stars stretch out into space? And what's beyond them? In modern times, we built giant telescopes that have allowed us to cast our gaze deep into the universe. Astronomers have been able to look back to near the time of its birth. They've reconstructed the course of cosmic history in astonishing detail. From intensive computer modeling and myriad close observations, they've uncovered important clues to its ongoing evolution. Many now conclude that what we can see, the stars and galaxies that stretch out to the limits of our vision, represent only a small fraction of all there is. Does the universe go on forever? Where do we fit within it? And how would the great thinkers have wrapped their brains around the far-out ideas on today's cutting edge? To begin to get a handle on infinity, we're going to need some perspective on the numbers and scales that define our universe. One place to start is a narrow side street in Charles Dickens' London. A curiosity shop, fictional to be sure. Here you can find an unparalleled collection of stuff. Old shrunken heads, manuscripts, newspapers, books, and rare examples of impressively large numbers. From Zimbabwe comes a $100 trillion note. In late 2008, with that nation battered by hyperinflation, it was worth about $1.50 US. Go up 2 orders of magnitude to something decidedly more useful. The fastest supercomputer in history will soon hum along at 20,000 trillion calculations per second, a 20 followed by 15 zeros. You'll have to run it about a day and a half to equal the number of grains of sand on all the world's beaches. That's around a sextillion, a 10 followed by 22 zeros. That's roughly the number of stars in the visible universe. Atoms in the visible universe? That's upwards of 10 to the 78th power, a 10 with 78 zeros. Cubic centimeters? A mere 10 to the 84th, a septuagintillion. To go up from there, we turn to no less a source than the Guinness Book of World Records. The largest named number in regular decimal notation, the Buddhist time period Asamkhya, is 10 to the 140th years, or 100 quinto-quadragentillions. Then there's the largest number ever used. Graham's number is a calculation of angles in a type of hypercube. If you divided the visible universe into the smallest units known, called Planck volumes, the total of those units wouldn't get you anywhere close to Graham's number. But it's still nowhere close to the ultimate ceiling. Infinity. For those who find infinity hard to grasp, even troubling, you're not alone. It's a concept that has long tormented even the best minds. Over 2,000 years ago, the Greek mathematician Pythagoras and his followers saw numerical relationships as the key to understanding the world around them. But in their investigation of geometric shapes, they discovered that some important ratios could not be expressed in simple numbers. Take the circumference of a circle to its diameter, called pi. Computer scientists recently calculated pi to 5 trillion digits, confirming what the Greeks learned. There are no repeating patterns and no ending in sight. The discovery of the so-called irrational numbers like pi was so disturbing, legend has it, that one member of the Pythagorean cult, Hippasus, was drowned at sea for divulging their existence. A century later, the philosopher Zeno brought infinity into the open with a series of paradoxes, situations that are true but strongly counterintuitive. In this modern update of one of Zeno's paradoxes, say you have arrived at an intersection, but you are only allowed to cross the street in increments of half the distance to the other side. So to cross this finite distance, you must take an infinite number of steps. In math today, it's a given that you can subdivide any length an infinite number of times, or find an infinity of points along a line. What made the idea of infinity so troubling to the Greeks is that it clashed with their goal of using numbers to explain the workings of the real world. To the philosopher Aristotle, a century after Zeno, infinity evoked the formless chaos from which the world was thought to have emerged, a primordial state with no natural laws or limits, devoid of all form and content. But if the universe is finite, what would happen if a warrior traveled to the edge and tossed a spear? where would it go? It would not fly off on an infinite journey, Aristotle said. Rather, it would join the motion of the stars in a crystalline sphere that encircled the Earth. To preserve the idea of a limited universe, Aristotle would craft an historic distinction. On the one hand, Aristotle pointed to the irrational numbers such as pi. Each new calculation results in an additional digit, but the final number in the string can never be specified. So Aristotle called it potentially infinite. Then there's the actually infinite, like the total number of points or subdivisions along a line. It's literally uncountable. Aristotle reserved the status of actually infinite for the so-called prime mover that created the world and is beyond our capacity to understand. This became the basis for what's called the cosmological or first cause argument for the existence of God. Another century later, Archimedes incorporated actual infinity into measurements of curved lines and volumes. His method boils down to a process of summation. Place a triangle inside a circle, turn it into a square, then a pentagon, and so on. As the number of sides increases to infinity, their combined lengths equal the circumference of the circle. By slicing and dicing curves into an infinite number of straight lines, he was able to compare a variety of curves, areas, and volumes. Archimedes anticipated techniques developed 2,000 years later. And yet his ideas on infinity did not carry forward due to what the author David Foster Wallace described as a mathematical allergy that developed in response to Aristotle's potential infinity. It was Aristotle's ideas that passed into the Christian era, along with his cosmology, with Earth seated firmly at the center. That view was not universal. Islamic, Hindu, and even some Western thinkers posed alternate views that included infinite space. In European circles, the issue of infinity resurfaced during the Renaissance. In 1543, the Polish astronomer Nicholas Copernicus argued that Earth orbits the Sun, not the other way around. The old Greek spheres began to fall by the wayside when a distant supernova, then a comet, were spotted by the astronomer Tycho Brahe. These objects seemed to behave independently of the other stars. A monk named Giordano Bruno inflamed the issue by traveling Europe at the height of the Inquisition to proclaim an infinite universe. In the year 1600, he was burned at the stake for this and other heresies. Just 9 years later, in 1609, Galileo Galilei used the first astronomical telescope to show that the universe is much larger than we thought. In later writings, he even sought to discredit the distinction between potential and actual infinity. Galileo was forced to recant, and the old Aristotelian view held sway. Any attempt to assign a value to infinity, in numbers or in nature, was doomed, for that was the unique province of God. Finally, at the end of the 19th century, the mathematician Georg Cantor sought once and for all to divorce metaphysics from the abstract pursuit of math. Infinity, he wrote, had to be studied without arbitrariness and prejudice. He became known for folding finite and infinite numbers into a unified theory of number sets, considered a foundation of modern math. One of his defenders used a paradox to show how infinite sets are subject to concrete comparisons. Say you've come to stay at this grand hotel. You're in luck because here there is an infinite number of rooms. Oddly enough, you learn there are no vacancies. Fortunately, the manager says, "I can still check you in." He assigns you to room number 1 and directs you down the corridor.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks.
Then he goes to work, shifting the guest in room 1 to room 2, room 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and so on. So in this hotel, there's a number set that includes an infinite number of guests and rooms. Then there's that same set plus you. 2 infinite sets, yet one is a subset of the other. Being able to use infinite sets of different sizes allowed mathematicians to design equations describing continuous motion and change over time. Echoing Aristotle, a critic of the new set theory suggested that the end of the corridor is still only a potential infinity, with God representing the only actual infinity. For those who pine for humble accommodations, we'll recommend an alternative later on. Even as mathematicians embraced infinity, astronomers in the early 20th century still saw a limited universe, centered on the galaxy, a flat disk of stars. Did the limits of our vision, like the horizon at sea, conceal an infinite universe beyond? Albert Einstein, for one, believed that if that were true, then the night sky would be filled with dense starlight shining from every direction. We'd reel from the effects of infinite gravity. Arguing for a finite universe, he described a people living on the 2D surface of a sphere. To them, a beam of light moving through space would appear to go straight on an infinite journey. In fact, it follows a path determined by the overall gravity of the universe and curves back around. Like the old Greek spheres, this view of a static and limited universe began to fall by the wayside in the 1920s. Edwin Hubble and Milt Humason used the new 100-inch telescope on Mount Wilson in California to look at mysterious fuzzy patches of sky called nebulae. They found that these patches were galaxies like our own, and that some were very far away. What's more, they found that most are moving away from us. The farther out they looked, the faster the galaxies are moving. This fact, known as Hubble's law, led to an inescapable conclusion that the universe is expanding. Furthermore, if you run the clock back on this expansion, it appears that it all began in one singular moment. That moment has traditionally been described as an explosion. A Big Bang. How large the universe has gotten since then depends on how long it's been growing and how quickly. Using an array of modern telescopes, astronomers have recently narrowed the beginning to 13.7 billion years ago. Taking into account the expansion of space ever since, the radius of the visible universe, the part we can see, has expanded out to 46 billion light years. These measurements have raised anew the ancient questions. What's beyond our cosmic horizons? Is there an edge? Or does it somehow go on forever? A new set of answers has emerged from a theory designed to address questions that arose from the original model of the Big Bang. For one, how did the universe get so large? The Hubble Deep Field contains images of infant galaxies at less than 10% of the age of the universe, near the edge of our cosmic horizons. By the time one of those galaxies reached maturity, it would have moved far, far beyond our horizon. And what of all the galaxies visible at its horizons? For another, how did the universe get so smooth? In every direction you look, the density of galaxies is the same on large scales. Astronomers believe that whatever process flung the universe outward must have also blended it in its earliest moments. The theory that addresses these questions was based on the discovery that energy is constantly welling up from the vacuum of space in the form of particles of opposite charge, matter and antimatter. The idea is that in primordial times, an energy field embedded in this so-called quantum vacuum suddenly moved into a higher energy state, causing space and time to literally inflate. And our universe to burst forth. If this theory is right, then our universe is incomprehensibly large. Its author, the scientist Alan Guth, wrote that the universe as a whole would have grown to at least 10 billion trillion times the size of our visible patch. That's a 10 followed by 23 zeros. If you think that's big, a variation on the theory describes the origin of our universe as a physical process that exists far beyond it, out into the seemingly infinite void that had confounded Aristotle and other Greek thinkers. In that case, our universe would have inflated like a bubble and joined a stream of other bubble universes frothing up and expanding across an endless ocean of time and space. A related idea theorizes a cosmic landscape unfolding in vast fractal patterns. These new, more expansive visions of the cosmos are not without their paradoxes. Logically speaking, with infinite stars, infinite planets, infinite universes, you will also have infinite possibilities. The so-called infinite monkey theorem has its roots in Aristotle's attempts to illustrate the perils of thinking about infinity. Ask a monkey to type, or ask an infinite number of monkeys to type, for an infinite amount of time. You're sure to get a lot of random letters. But there is a chance, however small, that somewhere, somehow, you'll get the full text of Shakespeare's Hamlet. It's clearly absurd. Then again, consider the increasingly strange nature of our universe, as suggested by some new observations. This is where we draw your attention from the famous Hotel Infinity to a less well-appointed alternative. You're sure to get a big welcome at the old Hall of Mirrors. This ramshackle place would have thrown even the great thinkers for a loop. It represents a kind of optical illusion that may be present in our view of deep space, according to a new interpretation of data from one of the most important space satellites ever launched. WMAP was sent out to make precision measurements of radiation left over from a period about 300,000 years after the Big Bang. It revealed an intricate pattern of hot and cold spots, now thought to represent the seeds of the galaxy filaments and walls seen on large scales. The pattern was laid down by pressure waves that ricocheted through the expanding gas of the early universe. One group of scientists, looking at the sizes of these waves, suggested that some are actually mirror images of themselves. From this, they argue that the universe could be much smaller than we think. That's not the only strange new line of evidence. Tracking the movement of distant galaxies, astronomers found huge clusters moving at about 2 million miles per hour in the direction of the constellation Centaurus. With the results published in a top scientific journal, the astronomers describe an immense gravitational presence that may loom beyond our visible horizon, perhaps another universe that inflated near our own. Ideas like these may well have led to imprisonment or death in centuries past. Now they are a part of the field of study that is bursting with data and ideas. Cosmology, the study of the universe as a whole, has long been infused with metaphysics and philosophy. Today, it's steadily merging into the physical sciences. So, is the universe infinite? Scientists will continue to look for evidence of what lies beyond our horizons, and to test theories on the nature of time and space. But like the room at the end of an endless corridor, the final answer will always elude us.